This is a Godslayer 7472 production. Yes!
Hey Cucks, it's Godslayer and welcome back to another video. If you're new, then hello. This isn't my usual video, but if you like completions, then you should check out my other videos because I be in Pizza Man and stuff. Also, this is a guide to rival Cottage's guide because he hates his own have fun video. I'm doing this to spite him basically. I have nothing else to say, so we're just gonna get on with the guide. So before I actually talk about beating Have Fun and all the characters, I'm gonna tell you how to actually access the night. You have to beat nights 1 through 6, which are a part of the main game obviously. Then you have to beat the secret night, which is the purple night if you've ever seen it. To access the secret night, you have to click on the 3 purple dots on night 3, then it'll just take you to it. I'll show you the purple things on screen right now, but I'll also just tell you where they're at. The first dot is on your desk, which is pretty obvious. The second one is on cam 2, it's on the edge of the rack, it's pretty small. And then the last one is on cam 5 next to Z-bar. After completing nights 1 through 6 and the secret night, you have all the requirements met and you can access Have Fun. Beating secret night is decently easy and it introduces you to the 2 hardest characters of Have Fun. But if you have issues with beating secret night, later in this guide I will talk about the 2 characters, which are Cool Kid and 3 and 2. But for now, let's just get into the meat of the video. First, obviously turn your graphics down to 6 or below. That way you can see door characters, but you probably already know about that if you're playing the game. Then, let's talk about how everyone works. First, Tri-Fly. They move slowly through the cameras, then they go to your front door, then you close it. Very simple. Next is Ashton. He goes to your left and right doors, you close it. It's basically the same thing. Third is Malachi, which actually changes it up a bit. He will always appear in the front door, but closing it on him does nothing. Flash him around 6 to 8 times, and then he'll just leave. Next is Z-Bar, which he's the vent character. His timer is in the camera. You have to close it before the timer runs out. When he bonks, then you can open it. Don't keep it closed for too long, or you die to oxygen. Now let's get into the 2 hardest characters that show up in Secret Night, 3 and 2 and Cool Kid. First is 3 and 2. He is in all positions, he can appear at any door, and when he is at a door, just close it. When he's in your office though, he acts like Malachi. Flash him until he leaves. His last position is in the vent, but he works differently to Z-Bar this time. You'll hear a banging sound inside the vent, which indicates that he is coming. His timer also shows up on the cameras, but you should probably use his sound cue to know when he's close. When it gets a bit loud, that's when to close the vent. He has a 2-second vent timer when he comes, which is very different to Z-Bar, because Z-Bar has like an 8-second timer I think. So yeah, use the sound cue for sure. Next is Cool Kid, which I'll be calling CK for simplicity's sake. He can appear in 5 locations, all on cameras. I'll talk about those positions later. His mechanic is that you have to click on these positions on the cameras. He has around a 10-second kill timer on Have Fun, which makes people want to neglect him, but I assure you, he takes a bit to find, so do not neglect him. He is the hardest character in the game, and I do not say that lightly. Also, instead of 1 CK spawning like in Secret Night or Pizza Man, 2 spawn and Have Fun. That's why this night is such a difficulty jump from Night 6 or Secret Night. Now let's talk about the CK spots before we talk about how to deal with them. The first spot is on cam 3 and he's just chilling by the generator. It's an easy spot, he's quite big. Next is cam 6 and you'll find him waving on the stage. This one has a bit of a smaller hitbox than 3, but it's still one of the easiest. Now cam 1, which has the hard spots, you'll see CK on the left laying on the rack or sitting by the door. On the right, you'll see him in a similar position as 3, just leaning against the wall this time. The cams to check for CKs are 3, 6, and 1. I recommend doing it in this order because you can pre-fire the CK spots, plus they only have 1 position in each of these, 3 and 6, so it's just easy to get them out of the way. Cam 1 shows 3 different spots, and they are decently hard to click since they are so far away. I recommend that if one spawns on the right and another spawns on the left, go out of cams after you click on one, like if you click on the left, go out of cams, to deal with any office characters, then go back in to get the second CK. It would be risky to keep the office characters waiting since each kill timer is 2.5 seconds as opposed to the 10 seconds CK gives. Moving on to the actual night now. It's 6 minutes like anything else. All the characters that I have talked about before activate immediately. They are not added throughout the night. They all activate at the same time, around 5 to 10 seconds after the initial chiming from the transition to Have Fun graphics. The main loop of the night is keeping track of what time Z-Bar is, but also making sure you close the doors and deal with Malachi or Malachi 3 and 2, which is the desk 3 and 2. The only reason to go in cams is to find CKs or check the Z-Bar timer. Whenever I go back into office, I immediately start flashing just because it starts to get rid of Malachi or 3 and 2 before anything else. Tryfly, Ashton, and Door 3 and 2s are pushovers in non-max graphics, but they make it so you can't stay in cams for too long, basically making CK harder. The main gameplay loop of the night is to consistently go into cameras to check for Z-Bar's timer, waiting for CKs to spawn. Once CK spawns, check cam 3 for the generator spawn, get out of cams and see if there are any door characters there. Close or flash them if they are. Go back into cams and switch to cam 6, repeat the office cycle. Cam 1, repeat office. Pre-firing cams 3 and 6 makes going through cams a lot quicker, which in return makes CK less of an issue. Obviously close the vent when Z-Bar is close, but the specific time to close is around 1.5 seconds, give or take. Go out of cameras at 2 seconds and wait in office, or get anyone that's at doors before closing. Oxygen is an issue in this night even if you can't see it, so make sure to close close but not too close. If CK is active but Z-Bar is close to hitting, get out of cams at around 1 second of Z-Bar's timer and close the vent. Edge Z-Bar just a bit to spend more time on CK, but don't neglect office either while doing this. The loop of the night is small, but it changes a lot due to who is priority at that time. The first thing I could say is that Have Fun has a really annoying learning curve, which basically means you'll die a lot until you actually get good at the night. It kind of just throws you straight into the difficulty, and it's hard to get used to how fast you have to be for the cameras and everything. Do not let this discourage you though, as when you get at least a little good, the night becomes decently easy. I've seen people fluke Have Fun from like 2 AM to completion because it's the same thing throughout, and it's decently forgiving if you're on top of things. Tip 1, I already said this, but I'll say it again for funsies. I personally spam in office just to get rid of Malachi or 3 and 2 quicker if they are there, because your mouse is usually in the center when you flick out of cams. Tip 2, make sure that your mouse is in the center of the office when you are flashing Malachi. If you flash the left or right door or the vent, it won't count towards getting rid of him and you'll die. If you close a left or right door, then your mouse will be over the door and you'll be flashing the door. Then you'll die. Tip 3, if you're in cameras and neglecting a Malachi, basically meaning if you see Malachi in your office, then you go into cameras, the first thing you should do is to get rid of him when you go out of cameras. I know it's a struggle to fight against closing the left or right door, but his kill timer is probably really low, so try to edge Ashton's kill timer, which left or right doors, to get rid of Malachi if you're in a position like that. Tip 4 is to prioritize vents when CK is active. I've seen people play and want to try and edge the vent, but in return completely neglect it. Think about it this way though. If you neglect CK, you'll just have less time to get rid of him, but it's not a total death. If you neglect vents though, you instantly die. I'm not saying to stay in office at around 2 seconds, because you can edge vents, just not too much or else you'll die. This part of the video is now the no sound guide. This is the easier one of the self-imposed challenges for the night, and it's as the name implies. You do the night with no sound, it's that simple. There are 2 things that make this night a bit harder. One is a given, but the other not many people know about until they actually try playing it. The first change is not being able to hear the 3 and 2 sound when he bangs around in the vents, but his timer still pops up on the cameras, so just make sure that you're looking out for that. The other thing that makes this harder is not being able to tell when people bonk on the vent. This makes Oxygen a bit harder, but nothing too crazy. These are the only 2 differences from normal Have Fun to no sound Have Fun. You play through this challenge the same as normal Have Fun night, but being more wary of vent characters at the same time. That's really all there is to it, though here's some tips for the night. Tip 1 for this challenge is to be in cameras more than the usual night. This is because you don't want to miss the timer on cams 3 and die to 3 and 2, since he has a 2-second vent timer. Tip 2 is to look in cameras when you have the vent closed to know for sure when they hit the vent. Usually people open too early or they die to Oxygen by overestimating how long they have to close it, plus you can't see the Oxygen in the night. It's good to know for sure when the exact time they hit so you can retain as much Oxygen as possible. So close the vent, then go into cameras if there's no office characters to see when the timer leaves. Tip 3 is just to beat normal have fun to get quicker on the cameras, or hell, play Pizza Man before attempting this. This will make it a lot faster to complete when all you need to do is just get used to the no sound changes. Tip 4 is that vent characters cannot stack in the night. So right after you close the vent on Z-Bar, there is a chance that vent 3 and 2 can spawn. You need to know this because if you spend too long in the office after Z-Bar hit, 3 and 2 can spawn and just fucking murk your ass. So make sure right after you open the vent on Z-Bar, you go back into cameras if there is no office characters to see if 3 and 2's timer has started. First thing to say is to not go for the shitty ass mode, bro. Max graphics is so dog shit, please don't go for this. But getting that out of the way, this is the harder self-imposed challenge because this makes the door characters invisible. This makes Ashton, Tri-Fly, and Door 3 and 2s an actual problem in the night. You counter this by obviously flashing the doors consistently to know when to get to them. Max graphics is extremely hard to get used to, since you constantly need to be flashing the 3 doors to know when to get to your office after each camera flip. Plus, the times that get to your doors are inconsistent because of their low AIs, so it's even harder to do this challenge because you can't predetermine them. The main gameplay loop is the same as normal have fun, but you add one more thing to the cycle. After you go out of cams, you flash every single door. You need a quick finger for max graphics just because you need to be flashing so often. This might sound a lot easier than it actually is, so I encourage you to do a few attempts before judging it. Tip 1 is to use Pizza Man cameras, which are 3, 4, 6, and 2. Since the CKs are a lot closer to these cameras than they are 3, 6, 1, you spend less time in cams trying to click them and in return have more time to defend your office. Tip 2 is to play Pizza Man before this, and I mean it. Getting used to the cameras and getting used to being even faster than Have Fun requires you is almost needed, not just recommended for max graphics. Making the door characters invisible turns Have Fun from Legacy on the maximum list to about a top 100. This night is not a joke. Tip 3 is to edge the CK kill timer, focusing on office characters a lot more. You could really see the kill timers of each door character just because 2.5 seconds is not a lot of time and you'll die a lot on this challenge. So edging CK's kill timer to be more safe in office is a very good thing to do. Tip 4. I forgot to say it before, but better late than never. You should learn to go into cameras when you have the vent closed and look for CK, because that saves a lot of time. Yes, it takes a lot of oxygen, but I promise it helps you out a lot in the long run. Tip 5 is if CK is getting close to killing you, but you have office to deal with still, just close all the doors and hard focus on CK. You don't use much power if you only close doors when people are there throughout the night, so you can do this when you feel like you are close to dying to CK. If you do use this though, Malachi can still kill you, so don't neglect office entirely. This mode sucks ass. So hardest have fun is max graphics and no sound together at the same time. No, I'm not lying. Please, for the love of God, do not attempt this. There's not much I could say since I already covered no sound and max graphics, but a few things to keep in mind. This mode makes it so you have to be more wary of vents and office characters, and since CK is already hard enough on base, you basically have to play perfectly to not die to anyone. Oxygen isn't too much of an issue surprisingly, since most of the time you're in office anyway, and you could just go quickly into cams after dealing with office and see if they've left. Tip 1 is to beat Pizza Man before attempting this. Me and Tri-Fly both believe that hardest have fun is harder than base Pizza Man, so in my opinion, you need to be able to go through cams as fast as possible and see what the 2 CKs are, and you can only be fast enough for this night if you have beaten Pizza Man before, so do it. I think that just covers about everything, so if this helped you in any way, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I make a new video. If you need a guide on anything else in the game, be sure to comment down below, but don't ask for a Pizza Man guide because Cottage is coming out with one soon. If I missed anything or you have any questions on Have Fun, comment down below and I'll reply to it, or hell, you could even add me on Discord. It's the same thing as my name, just Godslayer 7472. But that's it. So peace.
Thanks for watching. This has been a Godslayer 7472 production.